Hopefully. I think Artosis is still out there casting something. So thankfully there is one other English caster covering one of the other matches. But here we go, spawning in the top left hand corner of site Delta. We have the Canadian Protoss player representing Team Basilisk. It is Trigger. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of site Delta, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing CranKy Gaming. It is Dark. Here we go. And yeah, I mean, look, this is what happens when the majority of your casters are like Protoss or Zerg. It's like we gotta come here. This is the only safe haven. Let's go. Also, I did look over it. When it comes to Protoss, it's Skills and Trigger, of course, Skills and Trigger. But they're both in the same half of the bracket, which is a little bit sad. They'll have to fight each other. Aye. For now, though, it is going to be a hatch gas pool opener here from Dark. Everything looking normal. Likewise, Trigger going for a gate expand. Dark coming in with the drone, though, coming in for a potential hatch block, but with the expansion being thrown down, hatch block is not going to be upon us. For those wondering, if you've been tuning into Dark over the past couple of months, he's been very fond. Oh, even denies the gas steal. Let's go. Dark has been very fond of hatch blocking and going for proxy hatches in general in this matchup. It looks like that was the goal here, but Dark is going to be denied, and oh my god, even taking a lot of damage here. Does delay the gas as he was hugging it for quite some time, but eventually it is taken. And eventually this drone has to get out of here. Dark, he's being cheeky. Like, this is usually not done. This is usually perceived to be like an economic deficit for the Zerg player to do something like this. But it's Dark, and you know, he likes to threaten proxy hatches, or hatch blocks I should say. So yeah, he's gonna get the hell out of here. Aye. With that, we do see Dark just setting up back at home, just going to be droning. In the chat from Rowbags, Max Packs out celebrating his big win over Clem in the EU Open. Oh, possibly. Aye. I mean, he did win against Clem last week, I think, in ESL Open Cup Americas, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was the Americas one. Did occur. Did break the curse. Has been on a roll recently. Behind this is going to be a Stargate opener from Trigger. Going to be getting into his opener. Meanwhile, the Adept's going to be threading a shade here towards the natural. Just getting a read on the saturation, just making sure that everything is on the up and up from Dark. Again, Dark is just droning, making queens, settling into the mid game, settling into the series. Overlord diving on forward here. Dark again. He's in the dark as to what's going on. Did see the Stargate opener earlier with his drone, and now he just wants confirmation of the first unit coming out, and he should get eyes on the Oracle, or the Void Ray if it would have been. There it is. Oracle has been spotted. See in the chat, Cure is casting himself. True. Shout out to Cure. He's been very active recently. For those unaware, Cure has been streaming a lot over the past couple of weeks. Very consistent streamer. Really cool to see. He's putting in the hours. Been trying to interact with the community, with the people out in Twitch, international community even a lot more. So really cool to see. Really cool to see Cure being so much more active, streaming once again. I'll say once again, maybe for the first time. Don't recall him being an active streamer in years past, so really cool to hear. Really cool to see. As for now, we're just getting into our lair as well, taking our gases. This should be leading into a Roach Warren, as this should be lined up with Roach Speed. And there we go, Roach Warren is thrown down. Oracle is going to be threatening that natural base and the third as well, but Dark is in position. Oh god! He was in position, but 3 drones are going to go down. We find some damage here. Very delicate micro out of Trigger. He does pull back. He does keep his Oracles alive. That is 3 drone kills. Not too bad. Not enough for this to be worth it, but I mean, he still has the Oracles alive. He's regenerating those shields. He's threatening these mineral lines even further. So he does dip in and dip the hell out of there. Behind this, Blink is on the way, +1. Going to be a standard transition at a trigger. Going +1 and Blink. Getting into the rest of his gateways. Getting into the rest of his setup. Oracles, they try to dive in once again, but this time Dark is ready for it. This time he does shoo back those Oracles. Roaches are in production. With the completion of this lair, we can go straight into Roach Speed, and there it is. Roach Speed is on the way alongside +1 range. So there's going to be a Roach Ravager heavy composition here. Dark is amassing some units, but really this is just to defend, just to deflect any kind of Adept Harass. And we can see that Trigger, he hasn't been going for any Adept Harass at all. He's been more concerned with expanding and saturating and establishing this third. Robo's on the way. Upgrades are about to kick in. We do have a bit of a gateway explosion here. A gateway splash, if you will. Going to be 6 gates in total. 4th base is being taken, and overall Trigger has been pretty passive. He has been chilling back at home, outside of just the Oracle harass. And this means that Dark can drone. This means Dark, he is free to just saturate his 3rd, saturate his 4th. Hydra Den on the way, Infestation Pit. Dark, he has identified that his opponent is being very passive, so we are taking up into Hive, into Lurker Tech. This is something that Dark does very well here in this matchup. As soon as he identifies that you're being a little bit too greedy, that you're cutting corners, ooh, as the Oracle goes down, he is so quick to tech. Now, big revelation. We see the Hydra Den and the Infestation Pit. Trigger, he now knows that Lurkers are on the horizon. So do we attack now, or do we take our chances and try to take a 4th base? Bay is on the way, 2nd Forge for double upgrades. Again, Templar Archives as well. Like Trigger, he's working on that next step. He's working on getting into 4 base saturation. This is that 4th on the way. He can apply some pressure, but Trigger, he can't really commit. Which means Dark is free to tech, and there's no stopping these Lurkers. The Lunkers, they're coming one way or another, and Trigger cannot stop it. Now, at least Trigger is aware. Again, with the revelation earlier, he is mentally prepared for Lurkers. He's getting into Immortal production. At the same time, we do have a big Ling Ravager counterattack. Wiles are going to be connecting, forcing a cancel. The army out of position. We're racing back home. We force a cancel the 4th. Ay, ay, ay. And again, Trigger, he has to race back home, reestablish his 4th base. He's still stuck here at home as a result. And Dark, there's that Hive, there's that Lurker Den. Hydras are on the way. And Trigger's gonna be stuck at home for the timing. Starkey comes in once again. Oh, force fields are looking good. Gonna be avoiding a head-on engagements. Dark has to back off. Behind this, yep, there they are. Lurkers are in production. We do have Groove Spines on the way. Dark has just been able to, again, just recognize how passive Trigger was going to be and take full advantage of it. There it is. We have 8 Lunkers in production for Dark. Ay, ay, ay. He's going to be saturating his bases. Dark, he's already up to 80 workers. He's working on a 5th base. And he has made it to Hydra Lurker Viper. Now, Trigger, once again, with the revelation, he's aware. He sees the Lurkers. He has them tagged. And as a result, what do we do from here? I think we just have to be ready to receive. I think we just have to engage. Oh no, on our terms, hopefully. This Trigger is going to dip onto creep. Storm still in production. No disruptors. Only 1 immortal. 2 immortals, sorry. And there we go, we have 2 more on the way. So these Immortals, they actually do a surprisingly good job at focusing down Lurkers. They can tank some spine shots as well and focus them down. Ideally, we have like Immortal Disruptor, but we're getting there. Likewise, Dark doesn't have any Vipers either as he's trying to catch the army. Oh, he's going to back off. But looking at the unit tab here, he has the Hive, no Vipers. Without Vipers, we have no secure way of shutting down the Colossus or the Immortals either. So I'm a little bit surprised that Dark is hyperfixated on Lurkers. I mean, I guess it makes sense. It's a little bit safer just because he has a standing army to go toe-to-toe with what Trigger has. But the lack of Vipers means that he can really only fight on creep or with a surround. Oh my god, and Dark, he just ignores the army. He ignores the main army, goes right through the center instead. Oh, and is this just too cavalier? He's about to be surrounded. Nidus will finish up in the main base. Link's gonna be engaging. Stalkers are being caught out. Big spine shots on the main army. The High Templar. Oh my god. Storms aren't looking too bad, but the High Templar, all of them go down, and pushing into these lurkers was so brutal here for Trigger. His Colossus survive, his Immortal survive, but we just go straight to the main. Forced to recall. Good Storm. Good Storm. Good feedbacks as well on the Queens. Lurkers are looking a bit exposed. They're going to be going down. We have detection. But here comes the rest of the army. We do dive in. We're going to be committing, but it looks like Dark should be overwhelmed. Yeah, there's a lot of Immortals. A lot of Immortals to chase this back. Trigger does hold on to his main. Just barely. Behind this, Dark, he's backing off. He still has a decent worker count. Did lose a couple of drones in the process. Lurkers are being rebuilt. Now again, what's important is the trade here. As Trigger, he did lose a big chunk of his Stalkers. He lost all of his High Templar. He lost a chunk of his Immortals. And this is what army is left. 0 Storms. 0 Storms remaining. A decent Immortal count. Well, Zealot Armies are coming in. Actually killing quite a lot of workers. Drones are going down. You can see Trigger trying to pull Dark apart, forcing him to resaturate these bases. Zealot's still alive. Another Nidus into the main base. Trigger, he's pulling back home. This Nidus may not achieve too much damage, but it's buying time. Was Trigger? No, he doesn't pull back completely. Void Ray does arrive. Gonna be hunting down this one Overseer. I was curious as to the purpose of the Void Ray, but that makes sense. Does make sense. Dark going to be moving through that center. Lurkers are burrowing. Oh, we do catch a couple of reinforcements. Oh, the Arklins. The Zealots. Oh my god. Trigger, he ignores the army. Instead, he goes for his push. Oh, but now he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Reinforcements going to be coming from the right-hand side. Big Lurker spines going off. One Immortal goes down. Oof. Another Nidus Swarm on the way. And you can see that Dark, he's trying to outposition his opponent. Does see the army pushing in, which means we go for a big counterattack. Void Ray is going to be falling. We're going to be trading a base for a base. 2 bases even. Not much back at home to defend. But with this Nidus, we can come back home. Yeah, 1 base is going to be going down. Likewise, Trigger loses his Nexus. Robo is under threat as well. We're going to keep on pushing. It looks like we can defend with just pure Hydra. The Immortal army is going to keep on pushing, going to keep on moving forward towards the 3rd base. Meanwhile, the Lurkers going ham. 2 of them get cleaned up, but the rest they get into the natural. They're camping the production. Yeah, we got to commit. We got to keep on pushing. And can Trigger come out on top in this base trade? Does he have detection? He doesn't. No, there's no detection with the main army. No detection. He cannot push through. We do have an observer. It's now going to be meeting up with the rest of those Immortals. Oof. These Lurkers, they go ham, and Trigger, he's racing back home. And Dark, he can control the ramp. That's all he needs to do, take control of the ramp. Trigger is doing right for the Nidus. He's trying to make sure these Lurkers are trapped. But we have a Hydra army, and Trigger is being pulled apart. Oh my god. He can fight these Hydras though with the Colossus and the Storms. There's 1 Storm left. Trigger, he is gonna cut. Sorry, Dark is gonna be kiting back. Hydra's coming into reinforce. He's going right for that Void Ray. Oh my god. The Hydras, they arrive. Void Ray goes down. Trigger going for another big counterattack. This time the Nidus will finish. We have another Void Ray arriving. With the completion of this Nidus, this means we can come back home. We can come back home. We don't even need to. We have lurkers to defend. No detection. The observer's here. As production is falling. Trigger, he does take down the hatchery, but he has to back off. Again, he just has no way to deal with those lurkers. GG gets called. It becomes too much. Too much chaos, too much damage, and Dark will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. A solid game here out of Dark. And yeah, winding it back, a lot of the success that Dark found was because of what he was able to get away with, essentially. Remember, he recognized how defensive, how passive Trigger was being, and Dark, he just cut as many corners as he could. I say cut as many corners. He just teched up all the way into the Hydrogen, the Infestation Pit, into Lurkers, into Hive Tech, and Trigger couldn't do anything about it. He wasn't set up for it. Remember, by the time he scattered what Dark was doing, Trigger, he only had 6 gateways. Sorry, he had 4 gates. He had 2 more gates on the way. He was in the midst of taking a 4th and throwing down a Robotic Spade for Colossus production. Like, he was and throwing down a 2nd Forge. Like, he wasn't set up for a timing attack. He wasn't set up to be aggressive, so he just couldn't do anything. His production wasn't allowing for it, and yeah, as a result, Trigger, he had to embrace the mid to late game instead, and had to get into those Immortals, into those Colossi. And Immortals, they can do well against Lurkers, but we saw that actually Dark, he avoided the main fight for a long time. He recognized the power of all those Immortals, so he just ignored the army, went for these counterattacks, crippled the economy, and pulled the Protoss apart. GG, well played. And now we're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the bottom left hand corner of Hecate, we have the Canadian Protoss representing Team Basilisk. It is Trigger. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponent, we have the South Korean Zerg representing Dragon Kaizi Gaming. It is Dark. Go. Dark looking to go for a hatch gas pool opener. This time, I'm winding it back. I almost forgot. Dark did go for a crazy start of the game. He went for a drone scout even, or what should have been a proxy hatch, a hatch block. So Dark, he didn't have the best of starts. Had to kind of pivot away from that. Did lose mining time. Yeah, Dark, he didn't have the most standard of games last game either. Like, at least openers. This time the drones are at home. This time, he's going for his hatch gas pool. Standard opener overall. But yeah, I guess I can take this moment to welcome everyone in the chat. Welcome. Rao Bags, Kuro, Jeff Bezos, Babyling, Psycons, Count Bebop. Welcome. Zuzu. Scare Wyvern. 69. Nice. Welcome. Bienvenidos. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all enjoying the week. So we are nearing the end of November, nearing the beginning of December, and eventually Christmas. But we're getting there, man. We're getting there. End of the year. Oh my god. We are getting there. Yeah, the StarCraft still just doesn't stop. I mentioned last night, but basically, thankfully everything's looking good here. But last night I was actually having some connectivity issues to BattleNet, so we started casting ESL Open Cup Asia, which is the Asia variant of this tournament. But we had to stop at the at the semifinals, and did give a raid to Chicken Man, and we didn't get to cast basically just because we were things were just a little bit too choppy. I didn't want to be a burden to the players. But I believe in a couple of days on Thursday, we should be having a replay cast. So if you missed out on ESL Asia, we should be having a replay cast on Thursday just to catch up and just to make up for what we weren't able to cover last night. Do my best, Papi. Do my best. Thankfully, everything is looking good here this morning. Thankfully. As Adepts are going to be threatening a shade towards the main base. Trigger this time being a little bit more assertive here early on. Remember, last game he wasn't moving out at all with Adepts. This time he gets one, he gets two. Ooh, gets 3 drones. Good damage here from Trigger. Gets 3 workers before getting shut down. Behind this, Stargate opener into Oracles. First Oracles on the map, second Oracles on the way. Trigger is going straight for that third. As he moves out, Ling's going for a counter-attack, and it looks like with the death of those Adepts, we can threaten that third base, even threaten the natural. Meanwhile, Oracle gets another 3 drone kills. Up. Adept is going to go down. We shouldn't get much more than that, though, as the Oracle has arrived and all the Lings are being cleaned up. Good damage here from Trigger. Cleans up the Lings. Did lose an Adept, but his third base hasn't been hindered. That's what's important. And Dark just now scouts it. He checks the linear third, now checks the triangular third, but doesn't have enough Lings to really deny this Nexus. Does not have enough. And we have our transition. Twilight Council forward should be +1 and Blink once again, but this time we have gone up to 3 Oracles. So we're going to be a little bit more threatening here to the mineral lines. As we ignore the Queens, we go right for that drone line. We get 2. Oh. Oh my god. Only 2 workers so far. As the Oracles do get the hell out of there. Okay, just going to be pivoting around, regenerating those shields, looking for another way into these bases. And Dark has been bleeding out workers. He lost 10, oh my god, 10 so far. I mean, he lost 3 to the Adepts and has lost so many more here to the Oracles. Really good damage from Trigger. Meanwhile, Trigger, he's keeping up on the drone count as a result. Trigger, he's up in workers. Up in probes. Oracles, they dive into that third base. Get a couple more drones. Before pivoting away. With that, yeah, with Trigger, he's going to be stabilizing from here. He was able to keep Dark pinned back at home, and Dark has been having a hard time droning. He's still on 3-way saturation. Overload is going to get shut down. As we mentioned before, +1 and Blink on the way. We're getting up to 6 gateways, Robo. This is a very similar setup to last game, actually. It does seem like Trigger does intend on being a little bit active with this army, yes, but he should be working towards a 4th. Working towards a 4th and taking up. Likewise, Infestation Bit is on the way here for Dark. Army does rock up. Going to be forcing a reaction here from our Zerg player. Roach is on the way. Lynx as well. Trigger doing a good job at clearing up some creep. Threatening that 4th. We do have a stasis trap. Trap has been set. So far, good transfuses. Dark holding the line. Not losing anything. Not yet. And here comes Dark with the rest of his reinforcements. Gonna have to be very careful of that stasis trap. The Queens are getting low. Trigger is gaining ground at the same time. Adepts, they shade into that third base to get another 2 workers. But now we can focus on the main fight. Trigger trying to keep the pressure up, trying to keep it on. And Dark is cutting workers. He's getting a couple of infestors. He's cutting workers at 60 even. The Biles! Oh my god, they take down 2 of the Oracles. Ay, ay, ay. Very ambitious Biles, but I mean, he gets the damage done. Trying to buy some time as well. Waiting for that fungal. Dark, he wants to completely shut down this army behind this fourth base. Robotics Bay. Colossus production soon to be on the way here for Trigger. And Dark is now droning. But again, his worker count is not looking too hot. Same time Zealot runways are upon us so far. Big Fungal! Oh my god. The Biles as well. Trigger does lose a big chunk of his Stalkers. Fourth base has been spotted. Zealot Waddleblade comes in. Slow lots up the trenches. Not quite there. Zealots are being cleaned up at the same time. Trigger pushing on the right hand side. This time though, Charge is finishing up. Trigger, he's going to be able to do a bit of a better job here at harassing, but no, there's an army in position. You can see Dark catching up in terms of the supply. Still was staying on a low worker count for a long time, but now is finally droning freely. Finally saturating his bases. Hive is done. Adrenal is on the way. We haven't teched up into Lurkers. Just going Ling, Roach, Ravager. We haven't had the freedom to get into Lurkers. And Trigger is working on those Disruptors. Now again, we do have access to Hive, so we can start working towards Vipers. Never mind, we have an Ultra Cavern on the way. Okay. To make use of those melee upgrades, I appreciate it. Ultra's not seen every day against Protoss, but they have their place. Of course, Ultras are high risk, high reward just because of how expensive they are. But if your opponent isn't ready for it, can work wonders. Oh. Stasis Trap going to be going up. Disruptors coming forward. Trigger getting ready for his push. Oh, the High Templar, no! The High Templar are caught out. Force to morph into those Archons. So far, Dark trying to drag away the attention of Trigger. Trigger, though, unrelenting, standing his ground. Fungals will be connecting. Good files on one of those Stalkers. Only one. Ooh, as Trigger actually is going to be gaining ground over towards the left-hand side. Roaches, they have to respond. The Disruptors, no! He's not looking! 1, 2, 3 Disruptors go down. Not a single connection here on the Novas. Ay, ay, ay. Trigger doing well here towards the left, but no, I spoke too soon. The Zealots get cleaned up and we dive on top of some of these Archons. Trigger losing on both fronts. He does kill 8 workers, but down go the Archons, the Zealots as well, and now Dark is going for a massive counterattack. Defessors, big snipes, the Ravagers get caught. I think that was meant to be a fungal. Microbial Shroud is thrown down, but the Lings, they get into the mineral line, and oh my god, every single worker is going to be falling. And yeah, Dark is snowballing out of control. We do get a big warp into the main base. Things are about to get chaotic. Things are about to get crazy. As Lings, they do come in to reinforce. We have Burrow. We borrow the drones. We keep them alive. The Trigger, he's losing everything else. The third base, the fourth, the fifth, all on fire. And sure, we have Zealots in the main, but what are they really accomplishing? GG gets called. They accomplished nothing. And Dark will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the semi-finals. GG. GG, well played. Dark will take it in the end, 2-0, eliminating Trigger from the tournament. My condolences to Trigger, but he did put up a good fight, especially this game. This game was really close. Trigger, he was achieving quite a lot, actually, applying a lot of pressure, keeping the worker count low, taking and transitioning into Disruptors. Unfortunately, towards the end, as Trigger was keeping up and even surpassing Dark, Trigger did kind of pull apart his own attention. Remember when he went for the split push, the moment when things started going the way of Dark was when Trigger's disruptors got caught. When he lost 3 disruptors consecutively, one after the other, without a single Nova connecting. That was brutal. Like, there was so much power and potential in those 3 disruptors, and they were gone in an instant. They were gone, and